she's been doing really well with the cats here, so it should be a good fit with your cat at home.
Getting a second cat can be a great idea. It can provide enrichment, companionship, etc. for the cat at home, but there's a process to getting them acclimated to each other. It should be taken one step at a time, and there can be some fear, anxiety, and stress involved, both for the cat that you're bringing home that's going to be new to the environment, as well as the one that is already living in the home. It's not difficult. It should just take about 2 to 4 weeks, and here's how you do it. We call this process the 5 S's. The first S is separation. So you want to keep the new cat separated behind a closed door for at least the first 2 weeks. Do not introduce the cat to your resident cat. During this time, you want them to acclimate to the new environment, the sounds, the smells, etc. Give them everything they need in that room, including food and water, litter box, toys, bedding, somewhere appropriate for them to hide. It's possible they might hide under furniture as well. You want to spend time with the cat during this time, as well as your resident pet. Make sure you're spending equal time with both animals, and then you can also start to swap scents between them as well. The second S is swap scents. So during the 2-week acclimation period, you want to take a blanket, towel, sheet, whatever your cat uses its bedding, and put it in the room with the other animals. So you'll take your resident cat's bedding, put it in the room with the new cat, and take some bedding from the new cat and put it with the resident cat. You want to swap these blankets every 2 to 3 days so that they keep the other animals scent around. And that'll help them introduce to each other by smell first before they ever see each other face to face. All right, the next step is sneak a peek. So once they've exchanged the scent blankets over the course of the first 2 weeks or so, both animals are doing well. There's no major behavior concerns. There's no illness. We're not seeing any diarrhea or cause for concern to go to the vet. Then you can start letting them see each other. So a good way to do this slowly and at their own pace is by either cracking the door to the room where the one cat is acclimating slightly, or even put a baby gate in that door so that they can see each other, but there's still some kind of a barrier to keep them from coming nose to nose right away. When they do see each other, you want positive reinforcement immediately. So that can include high value foods such as canned cat food or treats that they really like. Basically, you want them to associate positive feelings and interaction with the other animal so that they start to think, oh, I see you and I get a treat. I see you and I get my favorite toy, or I get catnip. I kind of like seeing you. And then they start to build that relationship, and it starts off on a positive note. If at any point there's hissing or growling, that's kind of normal, but if they get really into it or start to fight, separate and go slower. Always go at their pace. So I would do it at least for a few days in a row, maybe even over the course of the next week or so, and see how things go. Again, hissing or growling a little bit is normal, but if there's any major behavior reactions, just go slower. The next step is to scope out the surroundings. So during this stage, you want to open the door to that room where the cat's been acclimating and let them start to explore the rest of the inside of the home. Obviously, they're going to meet the resident cat while they're doing this, so you want to stay close to them at all times, just in case any kind of, little fight breaks out or what have you. Keep a towel with you, maybe held over your shoulder, just in case you have to separate them really quick. You can just cover them with the towel really gently and just put the one cat back in the room if needed. Go slow with it. Give them some time out together, maybe keep it to 10 to 15 minutes, and then separate the cat back into the room again, and then continue trying this over the next few days and see how it goes. All right, so the next step in the process is called settle in. So you want to allow the cat free access to all of the indoor living space so that they can interact with each other freely. You want to still continue to monitor their interactions, so only do it when you're home and able to keep an eye on them and what's going on. If you're going to leave the home to go to work or grocery shop or whatever, or if you're making dinner and can't monitor, or you go to bed at night, separate the cat back into the room just until they've fully gotten used to each other. At this point, it should be about 3 weeks since you've adopted the new animal. So as the cats are getting used to each other, you want to make sure not to punish them if they have negative reactions. So if you see them hiss or growl or get into a little, spiff together or what have you, do not punish the behavior, because then it's going to make them associate negative things with each other. Another point to touch on is don't use a squirt bottle, because they'll have negative association with you as well as the other animal. So don't do those things. Instead, use positive reinforcement and just separate them if necessary and go slower. This may seem like a long process, but it'll really be over before you know it. Take your time, go through the different steps using positive reinforcement, to reduce their fear, anxiety, and stress. Use food, treats, love, affection, toys, etc. This will set them up for success to get along perfectly in the end.